Hey, what is up everyone? It is Rich. Alright, welcome to the video. I'm so excited to do this video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at WHILCE Portacio's artwork on WHITWORKS, issue number 8. I was kind of debating what issue I was going to pick, and I've always, I love the first issue. I've done the first issue. I think I've even looked at the preview issue and up to around issue 5. But around issue 7, 8, and 9, Wills did some really interesting work. It's kind of the end of his first run on WHITWORKS. I was lucky enough to actually work with him for about a year. Well, I worked with him for about 2 years, but I worked with him for about a year on WHITWORKS, the second series. But anyway, this is a really great comic book, and it's Wills and Scott Williams. It's so influential to my work. Wills is such a, what would you call it, like an important part of the image equation, and not, you know, a lot of times because you've got Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, and maybe louder voices in the room, you forget about sort of like the power of WHILCE Portacio and just how good he is as an artist, because he's really phenomenal. So we don't necessarily really need to go in order through these. I just wanted to admire the art, the inking on it. I mean, Scott Williams is just firing on all cylinders here, and you know, it's incredible too, because at the time Scott was working, maybe not this exact moment, but Scott was inking Mark Silvestri, he was inking Jim Lee and Wills. That's crazy. Now again, I'm not saying that like this exact month, but during that time frame, the first couple of years of Image, Scott really had his handful. There's only one ink assist credit on this, which is John Ty. And so that would mean that John maybe filled in blacks and did some small things, nothing major for sure. But yeah, I always really like these issues. It's interesting. I'm gonna sort of adjust each one as needed, so that we get the best view on them. But Wills has a really interesting way that he lays out pages, and depending on how much time Wills has, he'll either really fill a page or he'll have more white in the background. I've always liked the look, personally. I think that there's it gives you the opportunity for your eye to really kind of relax. And sorry, we've got crows on the roof. I'm gonna shut this. They're gonna get loud. It's about to get loud. But yeah, he does some very like stylish like compositions with them. Wills and Scott have some incredible effects. Look at the lighting on this robot guy. This is really what I'm into right now. It's funny is I've found myself wanting to go back and really immerse myself in this stuff, and I know that there's sometimes the perception that I've been like that all along. The YouTube channel and my reviews of stuff are not really indicative of what I've got going on at home, to be honest. You'd be surprised. Like, a lot of the stuff that I'm really into would be stuff that really wouldn't translate to my comic art. So it makes it tough to, like, I wouldn't do videos on some of the art that I'm into because it just was the wrong crowd. Anyway, yeah, I've been kind of circling back to this stuff, and I really haven't looked at this work in terms of it being an influence on me, and probably over 10 years, being honest, maybe longer. Yeah, I'm finding it fun. It's like kind of a breath of fresh air in some ways, and it's still just so freaking good. Like, this is incredible right here. I love the designs. Wills has always been good at hair, clothes, gear. I mean, you name it, he's got it covered. His grifter is really funny, though. It's interesting, too, is because Wills has got, like, kind of, I don't know if it's, like, intentional, but he's really good at dark stuff. Not just that he puts black in his stuff, but his characters look a little mysterious. They've got a little bit of, like, kind of like an intensity and like, I hate to use the word evil, maybe evil wouldn't be the right thing, but they're like definitely leaning towards like darker stuff. I think some of it maybe comes from like Neil Adams, because Neil's stuff, and even Buscema, like his women look pretty approachable, but his men always look kind of like they've got dark eyebrows and stuff like that. But that sort of is relatable to me. Like, I definitely feel like even if I'm not drawing something dark, there's always something a little creepy about it. Like, there's like a little bit more drama. So Wills, around this time, funny enough, was when he actually went back down to the Philippines. He was living in California during this time. He went down to the Philippines and actually opened a comic book school and did that for several years. And some really, really good talent came through that studio, Lanil Yu being one, but there's quite a few others. And he really kind of gave back. Then he came back to the States. And so I don't know if I had ever met Whilce until probably around 1999 or 2000. So I'd been at Wildstorm for about 5 years before I ever really met him. He is the nicest guy, and he's so willing to talk about art and try to help you understand things. And it's really, really got a great personality for that. Like, if you ever get an opportunity to get your work reviewed for him at a show and he's got a moment to do it, definitely take the opportunity to try to get that, because he'll give you really good advice, and he loves talking about art. But yeah, what's interesting is you know, again, sometimes when you come up through a studio, people assume that you know everyone that worked there. Like, you know, oh, well, you had to have known Brett Booth, and you had to have known this person or that person. I mean, in my videos, I've talked about who I was friends with, and it was sometimes you just work different hours than some artists. You know, some people didn't come into the studio every day. Some people eventually moved away, and then others would work more extreme hours. Where there was a group of artists that would come in around 5 to 8 o'clock at night, and then work all night. And I was the opposite. I would work from 10 in the morning till about 6, just because it was easier. And also early on, I had other stuff going on. Man, look at this. This shit is great. But yeah, I really like these issues in particular. I think it's some of my favorite Wetworks art that he did. It was interesting. I've been studying other comic book art from around this time, and really kind of doing my homework on it, and trying to get into the headspace of what they do, how they interpret a script, how they utilize the panels and stuff like that. Because you can very easily slip into what would you call it, like too many panels. I was doing a review for someone. It was a lesson a couple of days ago, and I read the script, and it was one of those ones where some writers, I mean, I'm writing Blaster Kid myself, but some comic book writers tend to want to write a lot, and when they write a lot, they tend to put a lot of panels, and then you're left having to create a comic book that's got 9 panels, 7 panels, 8 panels, 11 panels, whatever it is. And you can find yourself having to squeeze stuff in. These books tend to be a bit more, you know, 5-6 panel pages, bigger shots. You know, not to say that they don't do other things, but there's a certain impact, I think, visually that these books have because of that. These books, meaning that anything that came out around 1994, 92 to 94. This is just the last thing. It's always fun to see the credits. So when they credit Joe Chido as the colorist, what that means is he did color guides, and so he would actually do hand-colored color guides of the pages that were beautiful. They looked really almost like the digital colors, and then they had what they called color separation, and it would be a group of people like this, and they would all mimic basically what Joe Chido has established in his color guides. So they would literally hand them an 8.5 by 11 kind of piece of cardstock paper with Joe's hand-colored guide on it. Isn't that interesting? So different. Look at this. Oh, and this is a little bit of a crossover. This is like the Fire from Heaven, because this is, oh gosh, what's his name? Defile? He was in Gen 13. Pretty cool character. Yeah, Lord Defile. Not bad. it was funny. My first thought was that his name was something else. So it was like thinking it wasn't Defile or something. There's Savant, Majestic, and Union. That's a nice Savant. Really nice. This is a really nice shot. Drawing glasses on characters can be a pain in the ass. He did a really good job. Look at the edges here and here too. That's good shit. Oh, his Maul is actually awesome too, actually, I have to say. Oh, Hellstrike. You know you can knock the shit out of Hellstrike too. But again, do you see, like, there's plenty of dialogue on this page too. That's the funny thing is I don't consider this like light and dialogue. It's not overwritten, but there's plenty of talking going on here, but it's freaking 4 panels. The trick is being able to write and get the story out in 4 panels. That's the actual challenge. I'm sympathetic to why writers use more panels. I just don't think that it makes for a visually interesting comic. And in particular, if it's a lot of pages like that, you've got to have the money shots. Give them what they want. They want action and good stories, but they want this. In your face. Look at the key. He's got the key. The bone key. What's it called? Just the key. Everyone knows which key you're talking about. It's the key that looks like a skeleton. Oh man, this is so cool. I remember before I kind of broke out as more desirable inker, when I was in the trenches fighting the good fight, as any young artists will do. I was working for JD as a moment. I was inking my own books, though, to be clear, but if ever there was good assistant work, I would take it. And so I actually had an opportunity to assist JD on Iron Man over Whilce, and I got to ink a lot of this type of stuff, and it was really fun. Yeah, there's a real art form to being able to do this type of piping and make it look like this. Like, you have to be pretty good inker to pull it off, to be honest. It's not easy. You really have to have patience. It's one thing that I actually do draw upon is the first 2 or 3 years I worked at Wildstorm, 2.5, before I inked Travis. No matter what I was inking, like, and again, I did probably 25 full books on my own at that time. I would always assist Alex Garner. I would be more than happy to assist JD. Scott had assistants, so I didn't really need to assist him. But I would always take assistant work, because the thing is it really created pressure on me to be able to work at the level that those artists did. And like Alex Garner in particular, he was so precise and such a demanding, not demanding boss, but demanded the best out of himself. And if you were going to assist someone like that, then you had to be at that level too. The same with JD. JD was such a good inker that and JD would assist Scott. So JD in a way did the same thing that I did, which is he was doing his own stuff, but if Scott ever needed a hand, JD would pitch in for Scott. But you learn a lot from that, because the thing is you have to step it up. You can't be doing what you're doing on some random book and then step in and try to fill in and mimic these like A-list inkers over A-list pencilers. Stuff is great, man. There's just not a wasted line in here too. That's the thing, is this is so efficiently done. It really is actually quite direct. You know, there's not a million wires. There's not really unnecessary any unnecessary detail, but yet it's detailed, you know. And you can go more crazy than this. You know, we did that video on Stephen Platt, and it's like Stephen gets down and dirty. And the thing is if you really look at that stuff full size, like just not like how we're looking at it on the screen, but if you see his art in person, you realize how much detail it is, how much fine detail it is. And I mean, he was really putting a lot into his pieces. So it's very different than this. Very different than most artists, to be honest. It's one of the reasons that it's so intense. Hey, look, it says Splat right there. How funny is that? What a weird coincidence. That's one of... This happens so much on my channel. Wow, that's so random. But it doesn't surprise me. This channel is magic. It's connected to the cosmos. The universe propels my channel to greatness. Just at a very slow rate. And we will be doing Super Fun Sunday this weekend. We're going to do a focus on Extreme Studios, believe it or not. We're digging deep. We're trying to find the hidden gems in Extreme's catalog. Artists that you might not know that dipped their toe into the Extreme pool and did something amazing. But then went on to do other things possibly. And we'll look at the classics, of course. I was noticing, preparing for that video, that there's a theme with Extreme Stories. This is a double page spread. Let's get out of the full screen for a second. Let me patch this together. Oh, they have the full split right here. All right. This is awesome. I actually have a black and white photocopy of this spread. And I mean, the lighting here is freaking insane. Let me try to brighten this just a little bit. Oh, you know, well, I can do this, then darken it a little bit. Yeah, dude, the lighting on this is so incredible. The hair, I get a lot of compliments on how well I draw hair. I'm telling you, it comes from Wilson Scott. It's a little Travis in my hair, but the foundation was laid by this stuff. I remember before I got hired at Wildstorm, I got a stack of about 12 photocopies from the editor-in-chief at Wildstorm, and one of them was a Whilce page from WetWorks, and yeah, it was like your hair game needed to be on point when you did samples of Whilce. This Maul figure is freaking great too. Dude, the Image guys could just draw the best big guys. Oh, man, it's so good. And this Grifter is awesome. And this Zealot is really nice, too. And this is Dane, I'm pretty sure. And then Spartan. This is a great spread. I would love to own this, to be honest. Oh, man, it would be so nice. I wonder where it is. Somewhere out there, this original is either with Whilce or Scott, or someone else has it, but man, it's good. I think this guy's called Grail. I think that's Grail. Nope. And then we saw this already. Is this a bigger scan? Oh, it is a little bigger scan. Can see it a little bit better here. This is nice. But do you see this? This was always so perplexing to me too, I'll be honest. All these little shapes that these guys would use to like indicate black, and it's still it's incredible what they do. It's such an advanced train of thought to get all these planes with the shadows. It's really, really beautiful work. It's interesting too is he's got uplighting coming from here. Is that my brush? Let me see. Brush. He's got uplighting coming from here because like Maul's face is like that. He's also got lighting coming from above because if you see, all these muscles are being lit from below, or being lit from above with the shadows below. So he's got double lighting on it. It really looks great. Really, really cool. Okay, let's continue, friends. Trying to keep this somewhat short, to be honest. But and then we got this. Look at the rendering on Grifter's mask. Man, it's sick. And this is some great hair too. Everyone's hair is beautiful. You know, Whilce has nice hair. He draws what he knows. The guy's got fabulous hair. Lighten this a little bit if I can. Brighten it, and then I'll do this. Yeah, it's a little better. Look at that. Oh, man, it's such a kick-ass spread. Fuck. I remember working with Whilce, and like occasionally like a piece like this would come my way where it would be like a big spread, just like classic Whilce. And you were just like, oh my god, dude, I cannot believe I get to ink this. It's so fun. He has really cool guns. I mean, it's like they're just like really interesting designs, but this is awesome looking. Man, it's so kick-ass. There's something about Image art. It's funny because Kelsey and I were talking about Dale Keown recently, and Kelsey is Kelsey Shannon. I actually had a friend of mine that's an art collector ask me who Kelsey was, and he didn't know, and it occurred to me that I always refer to him as Kelsey, but it's Kelsey Shannon. I'll have a link to Kelsey's a YouTube channel in my description box. But yeah, Kelsey and I were talking about Dale Keown. I went back and I really started looking at a lot of Dale Keown stuff, and man, Dale is good. It's the same thing. All these guys could draw is so badass. And again, look at how efficient the drawing is on Warblade. There is not any wasted motion in terms of unnecessary detail. And again, it's very, very detailed, but it's beautifully rendered. He picks his spots. He goes like, I'm going to draw a muscle here, a muscle here, a muscle here, a muscle here, and I'm going to light each one. And there's no extra dialogue in terms of noodling that he puts in. It's all very, very efficient, and it's so freaking good. I hope you can appreciate how much discipline it takes to draw like that, because it's not easy. You know, you sketch something out and then you've got to make a decision, and the decision is what's staying in and what's going out, you know, and you can get lost in your lines and do all kinds of weird random shit. Again, another really interesting layout. I love these white open backgrounds. Can get a little too much though. I mean, you definitely like it's one of those things where I would use this as a pretty strong seasoning in a comic book, and maybe like one every 20 pages or something like that. Because you do it too much, it can look lazy or like it would feel a little incomplete. But he's pretty good at picking his spots for it. The other thing you have to kind of decide as a comic book artist is like, are you going to use white gutters or black gutters? You know, because believe it or not, I mean, that is your call. You could dump black in between everything. Bachlo did that a lot. We had a lot of pages with black panel borders, and even panel borders that were made of tech, like steampunk technology panel borders. So you'd spend, you know, 90 minutes inking panel borders that were fancy. Oh, this is the other part of the spread. This is great, too. I love how Whilce does this. These kind of, like, environmental things. Great ships. This is so good, man. And this stuff, oh, man. It's so badass. This is Mother 1. She's quite powerful. And these are always nice. Classic image. We got to show a little bit of an establishing shot of them flying in the plane. Oh, man, it's so good. Oh, look at this. Is this Claymore? What's this dude's name? Oh, okay, this might be Pilgrim. And then... Or maybe that's Grail. This is Jester, I'm pretty sure. This might be Claymore. Or hold on. I don't know. I mean, if you're reading the word balloons, you probably can get a better idea. I'm sort of just glancing at the art and trying to guess. Man, this is awesome coloring. Joe Chido is so good. Look at the like, this is the goo or whatever he's laying in all down here. He barely fits in this thing. It's so funny. Whilce. It's crazy. Oh, I love this page. His neck is long, but his life is long too. No. It's funny. Obviously there's like tons of debate over AI art online, and it's like I work all day. I don't really follow it, so like I'll go on Instagram maybe in the morning and just want to look at art for a second, and then I see posts or like stories where people are like debating it different ways. But yeah, like anytime like I see something with like a long neck or like pointy lines on it, now I'm just like, oh, is that AI art? And then what's weird and is you can find all these examples of stuff like my black drawings, and there's all kinds of stuff in my gallery that looks like it, but it's just one of those things where it's like it is based on art, so it's like some of it is gonna sort of match up. But yeah, it's pretty funny. But this is really, really great. But yeah, Whilce will do, he's got such good anatomy, but he'll do some really, really strange things sometimes. But it's kind of part of the cool, like it adds a style to things that is really interesting. But man, the inks on this stuff are just a tour de force. I don't know how well this will go black and white. Let's see if I can lighten it just a little bit. It did all right. I can darken it now. Oh, wait. put just a little bit more of the gray out. Okay, and then let me darken this. You can kind of get an idea of like how he like lights the planes of the face. Pretty cool. He and Silvestri have like some similarities in this, where Jim Lee doesn't tend to put as much black, like the big shadow on the ear, and that is really cool. They always do great foliage too. Like Scott's inks on that stuff are always beautiful, and then this, but he's real thick neck, long neck. This is the cover. I think we're done. Yeah, we're done. So this is a Barry Windsor Smith cover. Barry did variant covers for all of these. Again, I think it's called Fire for Heaven. I guess this is a wraparound cover, or maybe it connects with another cover, because there's clearly Zealot right there. But anyway, you guys have a great day. We'll be back for Super Fun Sunday. I may not do another video between them, but I'm definitely trying to increase the amount of videos that I do, and I'm working really hard on Blaster Kid. That's why I haven't been, you know, on social media much. Is I'm focused on working and just getting the best art that I can together for you guys. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.